Hello children, welcome back to the English class. Today we will see the lesson, the portrait of a lady. Fourth lesson. And standard students, are you ready to learn the lesson? Fourth lesson, very interesting lesson. Kushwant Singh written. He had written the lesson, the portrait of a lady. Here we are going to see the life history of a old woman. Okay, she was the grandmother of Kushwant Singh. So, Kushwant Singh was the writer of this lesson. So, let us start the lesson. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. So, there is nothing difference, right? All grandmothers will be old only. Like that, he started the sentence. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled. That we know, right? That is common feature. One is old woman and wrinkle means foldings will be there on her face. For 20 years that I had known her. So, since how many years he had been seen his grandmother? Since 20 years he knew her, and also how she was wrinkled. For 20 years she had been wrinkled. People said that she had once been young and pretty. He heard that people were telling that once long time when she was young, at that time she was young and pretty. That is common, right? Everyone will be like that. And even had a husband. She had a husband also when she was young. Okay, but that was hard to believe. Why is telling like that? Now, when he looks at his grandmother, he was unable to believe that once she was a beautiful lady, and also she had husband. He is a little bit. He was hesitating to believe that fact. That's what he is telling. My grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. Okay, in the front room, the living room will be there. There in the shelf, the mantelpiece means shelf. So, there above that, he could see the picture. Portrait means actually the painting or a picture, the photo has been hung in the place, mantelpiece, above the shelf. He had seen the photo had been hung. And also, he wore a big turban and loose fitting clothes. So, here the writer is giving little bit description about his grandfather's picture. Okay, he was wearing turban. Turban means what? On the head they will be wearing, right? Old people, like that. And loose fitting clothes. What type? How he was wearing? His clothes were loose, not tight. And his long white beard covered the best part of his chest. Okay, we can imagine how much beard he has. Even that beard is covering his entire chest. Okay, that much big beard he has. Okay, one thing we have seen that he had big turban and loose fitting clothes. Okay, next his long white beard. How his beard was? White and long, and also covering his entire best part of the chest. Okay, that much big, you can imagine, right? That much big beard he had, and he looked at least 100 years old. That man was looking 100 years. He was estimating, he's counting his years. Okay, how he was imagining. Okay, expect this many age may be 100 years old. He was guessing the age of his grandfathers, and he did not look the sort of person who have a wife or children. He did not look like that much old man. He was looking that much old. Wife and also children are there. He couldn't believe that fact. Next, he looked Okay, he looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. He couldn't believe that only he had one wife and children. But he was thinking that definitely that man would have lots of children, grandchildren, not children, but he would have grandchildren. Okay, as for my grandmother being young and pretty, that thought was almost revolting. He couldn't believe that fact because his grandmother was little young at that time and pretty, but he was thinking like that. That thought was not, it was conflicting him. And she often told us of games she used to play as a child. Always she used to share the things whatever she was doing when she was young and when she was child. So that seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of prophets she used to tell us. So whatever stories that she was telling, the past, not the story like, so whatever the past she used to share with her children, with her grandchildren, that grandmother, that grandchildren, they were not able to believe that facts. It was looking odd because as a woman, as a wife, how can she go and play like a child? Right? We can't imagine, right? So that's why the author is thinking some stories she was telling. He couldn't believe that. And second paragraph, if we move to the second paragraph, let us see. She had always, now we'll see the in depth of the what she was doing. She had always been short. How she was? Short and fat. She was fat, short and slightly bent. Three characters. One is short, another is fat, and another one is slightly bent. She is to bend. Then her face was crisis, cross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. That many wrinkles, that many foldings have been come on her face. Right? It was ugly, right? Of course, the old people will be having that many wrinkles on their faces. So, from this corner to that corner, that many wrinkles. How nicely is describing his grandmother's face. No, we were certain she had always been, as we had known her, old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. Okay, so what he is telling here, oh, so terribly old. So now 20 years before, how she was so beautiful like that, they were telling no, but now they are not able to believe that fact. She could never have been pretty because now she is not looking, but she was always beautiful. Okay, please see here, she could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Means earlier she could have not be that much beautiful, that much pretty, but she was always beautiful. That much impression he had. How? Let us see. She hobbled about the house in spotless white with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the beads of her rosary. So daily what she will be doing, so she will be holding one hand on her waist to balance her, and also always she is to hold the beads, rosary. The old people, they will be holding the chain, the beads will be there, and they will be counting that beads one after the other. They will be holding something in the hands, the beads of the rosary, and they will be uttering some mantras, and they will be counting the beads of that rosary. So she used to have that in her hand always, and her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in audible prayer. Okay, always used to, in olden days they used to wear silver thing, so thick and so weight it will be. So she used to weight on her face, and also one thing that always she'll be constantly, she'll be telling some prayer, and always her lips will be moving. Some inaudible, we can't hear that prayer, but she'll be telling that prayer. They can't hear. Inaudible prayer. What type of prayer? Inaudible, no one can listen, but her lips will be moving. Yes, she was beautiful. She was like the landscape in the mountains. See how he is explaining? She was beautiful, and she was like landscape in the mountains. An expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. Okay, so how he is explaining, how he is describing, how he is comparing his grandmother face, the beauty of grandmother. Okay, that much pleasant face she has. And now this much we have seen, that is the current position of the grandmother. But after some time, means now he is going back past, he is recollecting what happened in his life and the relationship between the author Khushwant Singh and also with his grandmother. So third paragraph, listen carefully. 4 marks question comes from this paragraph. Listen carefully. So my grandmother and I were good friends. How they were good friends, underline that. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. Okay, they were good friends, very good friends, right? That is. Then another one, how they became good friends, we can think. So first start, how they have started their friendship means, because one incident, one time what happened, the author's parents, they left him. With whom? With the grandmother. Why they have left? Because they went to live in the city. At that time they couldn't take this boy along with them. We don't know why. After that we will see why they couldn't take. For a while they put this boy along with his grandmother. And at that time both were together continuously. Grandmother and the grandson both were staying in one house, and everything was taken care by grandmother. So here, see, she used to wake me up. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. First point, remember. What she will do? Every day morning, whenever early morning comes, she used to wake him. I get up, tell him we need to go to school, like that. After that, she will only make him ready. Dressing, bathing, let us see. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous songs. While she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. So while she was doing these activities, means while she is making this boy ready to get to the school, at that time she will be continuously telling the prayer, in which manner, in a monotonous, means traditionally, regularly, same like how you will sing songs in the prayer songs, no, Janagana Mana, how we will sing, monotonous manner. Like a tradition. Okay, this time when the prayer time we have to sing this song. Birthday time comes, whenever anyone is celebrating birthday, continuously, monotonously you will be singing the happy birthday song. Right, like that, even this woman also singing monotonously, regularly, like a daily activity. What is the intention of her singing the song is so that this boy also can by heart that song, whatever she was singing. That is her intention. I listened because I loved her voice, but never bothered to learn it. Okay, he used to listen the song, whatever his grandmother was singing. But why he used to listen? Because he loved her. That is the reason. Okay, but he didn't try to learn that song what his grandmother was singing. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot and red pen, tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. Okay, next, after giving the things, now bathing over, now what she is going to do, the things, whatever, the slate, the books and all, she will make ready for all the things for her grandson. What are the things? First one is wooden slate. Okay, already she will be cleaning that. Already she had cleaned that and also plastered with yellow chalk also. Yellow color chalk also she will take, and also tiny earthen ink pot she will give, and also red pen also she will, all together she will bind that and make it as a bundle, and after that she will give to her grandson. Who is that grandson? Khushwant Singh. And after a breakfast of thick Breakfast also she will give. How good she know? After a breakfast of thick, stale chapati. Okay, after when they have the breakfast, after that what they will do? They will take a thick stale chapati. Okay, they will take that with a little butter and sugar spread on it. We went to school. Okay, she carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. Okay, like that chapati and also little butter, sugar, everything has been spread on that chapati and they used to carry. And also like that so many several stale chapatis she used to carry both. Why? With her for the village dogs. Underline that. What? Why she will carry to the school? Village dogs. It means daily she will only take her grandson to the, she will drop her grandson in the school, near to the school. She will not leave to go alone. Okay, then that's all. Next we will see after that. Fourth paragraph. My grandmother always went to the school with me because the school, underline that. Why? My grandmother always went to the school with me because the school was attached to the temple. Underline that. Because the school was attached to the temple. That's why she'll also go along with her grandson. That is the reason. Main reason is attached to the temple. Remember, one more question. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer, while the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. Okay, these are the activities that will be happening in the school and at the same time in the temple also. So, she will go because the temple is near attached to that. She will go to the temple and reading the scriptures, but this boy will be just engaged in the school. So, what he will be doing? They will be all sit in the rows and they will be singing the prayers in a chorus and also singing songs, alphabets and all they will be singing. And when we had both finished, we would walk back together. So, after completing the school, both will come back. Okay, so it means that morning to evening she will be there in the temple along with her grandson. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. Both will come back. Then what they will do while coming? See, this time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. This time where they will meet? At the temple door they will meet them. And they followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we throw to him. While going, they won't give the chapatis, but while coming from back, so at that time, all the pieces or the chapatis pieces will be there, that will be throwing to that dogs, and these dogs will be following them. How they will follow? They will be barking at each other, growling and fighting. We know, right, how the dogs will communicate with each other. They will not have any unity among the dogs. We know, right? They will be barking and shouting at each other. So, till now, any doubts? You can ask me. Just once go through this. Next, fifth paragraph. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, okay, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. Underline that. How he was going? In a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. Now, little twist happened in the friendship. Okay, when they were in the village, they used to have the close relationship. Now, they went to city. When the parents settled comfortably in the city, they called them. Okay, you also come here and we all together stay in the city. Why should we stay in the village? Here we have the comfortable life. So they called them and they also went. Who? Grandmother and grandson, both. They also went to the city in order to stay along with their parents. that was the underline, that was the turning point in their friendship. Why it has become turning point? Because now see here, that is grandmother, she didn't get the chance to drop her grandson to the school. Why? Because maybe it was little bit far. Okay, far, and how he was going, and also he was began to study in English school, and how he was going in a motor bus. In cities are like that only, no vehicles will be there. So there were no dogs. Though first one another is although they were staying in the same room, but no communication, no contacts. Okay, morning this fellow will go, until evening she will be alone. So how she was just spending her time? See, there were no dogs in the streets at all. Okay, and but what she was doing? She took to feeding sparrows. But in the city, she found sparrows. In the village, she found what? Dogs. That was the difference. In the courtyards of the city house, so there she can find, she found the sparrows. And as the years rolled by, we saw less of each other for some time. She continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. Okay, at first they had the little conversation. How? So, hey, what did you learn today? What your teacher has taught you? Like that, she began to ask some questions to her, and he said, I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. All these things were new for her. She couldn't understand anything. So she said, this made her unhappy. Underline that statement. This made her unhappy. Why? See here. She could not help him. That is the reason. She felt so unhappy because she doesn't know those things. And also that was English word. She doesn't know English. So she was feeling unhappy. See, she could not help me with my lessons. Before and all, how she was helping, right? When she was, that boy was doing homework and all, learning the lesson, she used to sit along with him and she was teaching. But now she couldn't. And she didn't believe in the things they taught at the English school. That is the problem. Okay, she didn't believe that and all. What they were teaching at this round, that and all, she didn't believe at all. And was distressed that there was no teaching about God. Why she was distressed? Why she felt unhappy? Why she was dull? She became dull and not interested. Because one reason, they are not teaching about the God. About God and the scriptures. Scriptures means what? The books, the sentences, the Bible, Quran, so which are related to the God things, those and all called as scriptures. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She didn't speak anything. She didn't say any negativity about this teaching of the school. But her silence only, so little bit expressing that she is not interested. She didn't like the teaching. And she rarely talked to me after that. After that, she lost the interest to talk with her grandson also. Rarely, so rarely she began to talk. Okay, that was the thing. Understood? In next class, we'll continue the remaining part.